Welcome back to our YouTube channel, The Book Digest. In today's episode, we're diving into a powerful and practical summary of Winning by Tim Grover. Now, we all talk about success, right? But Grover's take, it's just different. It's more honest, way more demanding, and frankly, it's pretty ruthless. So today, we're going to tear down those common ideas you have about success and reveal what it truly means to win, according to the guy who trained legends like Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Here's how we're going to break it down. First, we'll challenge what you probably think winning even is. Then we're going to get inside the mind of a winner, see what that internal battle is all about. From there, we'll look at how that mindset plays out in the real world, face the unspoken cost of that level of commitment, and then we'll finish with one brutal question Grover asks anyone who wants to be the absolute best. All right, let's just dive right in. To even start to get what Grover is talking about, we have to ask the most basic question of all. What is the goal we're actually chasing here? Seriously, think about it. Is it a championship trophy, a promotion, hitting some sales target? Well, according to Grover, this is exactly where most of us get it totally wrong right from the very start. We end up chasing the byproducts of winning, and we mistake the evidence of victory for the real thing. And this right here is where the whole perspective flips. See, most of us view winning as a destination, an event, a finish line we cross. Grover says that's completely backwards. For him, winning is a continuous process. It's not about achieving a goal, it's a state of being. It's not about holding the trophy, it's about that relentless, daily, internal commitment to being the best you can possibly be.
Exactly. The real win is that internal commitment. Everything else, the trophies, the money, the recognition, that's just proof that the commitment is real. It's not the win itself.
So, okay, if winning is this internal state of being, how do you even build that? Well, it all starts with a battle, one that happens long before you ever step onto the court or into the boardroom. It's the battle you have with yourself. And look, this is not your typical list your strengths and weaknesses kind of exercise. Grover is talking about something way more brutal. It's about stripping away that perfect image you show the world, and yeah, even the one you tell yourself in the mirror, and just confronting the raw, unfiltered truth of who you are, warts and all. Because think about it, without that brutal honesty, you're basically fighting with one hand tied behind your back. You can't use the tools you refuse to admit you have. And once you acknowledge everything, especially the uncomfortable parts, that unlocks a source of fuel that most people are just too scared to even look at. This is a game changer. Grover completely reframes the whole idea of a dark side. He says it's not a flaw you need to fix or suppress. For the greatest competitors on the planet, this so-called darkness, this obsessive, relentless drive, it's a core resource. It's the engine that pushes them into uncomfortable places and makes them refuse to accept any limitations.
So how does all this internal stuff, the honesty, the darkness, actually turn into action? Well, Grover gives us the ultimate example from his own career.
This is what that mindset looks like when it's unleashed. Jordan's legendary drive wasn't just about him. He demanded that impossible standard from everyone around him, his teammates, his coaches, everybody. And Grover is really clear about this. This was not about being liked. It was an unsentimental, sometimes even cruel, obsession with getting the absolute most out of everyone. Nothing else mattered. And that unsentimental attitude, it applies to failure too. We're all taught that failure is this great teacher. But Grover says that real winners are obsessed with something totally different: how fast they can reset. And here's the process. It's not about ignoring failure or pretending it didn't hurt. It's about processing it with ruthless efficiency. You acknowledge it, you pull out the lesson, and then you move on. Completely. No emotional baggage, no feeling sorry for yourself. Just gone. So, ironically, the biggest threat to a winner isn't really failure. It's success. See, success creates comfort. And comfort is absolute poison to that relentless drive that got you the win in the first place. You get a little soft, all of a sudden you've got a reputation to protect, a lifestyle to maintain, and that makes you scared to take the exact same risks you need to take for the next win. But this is where Grover's brutal honesty really lands. He doesn't sell you some fantasy where you get to have it all. He is crystal clear that this relentless chase comes at a very, very steep price. Let that one sink in for a second. Winning at the highest levels of anything is an unbalanced life. And Grover's point is that you have to make peace with that fact, not try and pretend it isn't true. And these are the trade-offs. He's not making a moral judgment here. He's just stating a fact. It's like a law of physics for ambition. All that obsessive energy, that singular focus, the sheer number of hours it takes to win at that level, that energy has to come from somewhere. It's a zero-sum game. Every hour you spend in the gym, or in the office, or perfecting your craft is an hour you don't spend with your family, or on hobbies, or just relaxing. Winning costs everything.
Which brings us to the final and most crucial point. Grover isn't selling you some easy, feel-good motivational speech. He's not telling you to just believe in yourself. His message is actually way more challenging, and honestly, it's more respectful.
And that's the real power of this book. It's not a self-help guide with easy answers. It's a mirror. It forces you to ask yourself those brutally honest questions. It pushes you past the fantasy of having it all and forces you to really assess what you truly want, and more importantly, what you're willing to give up to get it. And that's really the question this all leads to, isn't it? Grover lays out the path with absolute clarity, what winning is, the mindset it requires, and what it will cost you. The only thing left to decide is if that's a path you are truly willing to walk.